Hey guys, Bob Hertzog, your real estate dad. This is a really cool episode today. I got to bring in my buddy Dave Johnson, who's the CEO of Mist America. It's that time of year. It's March 19th, and it's 103 degrees today. So I thought, what a great opportunity to bring in my buddy to talk about misting systems. This is the perfect time of year to use them, obviously, before it gets too darn hot out there. But these things are amazing. They drop the temperature of your patio significantly. And he's got a really unique system, the Mist360, that I wanted him to talk about. And all of his contact information will be down below. He's actually got a showroom where you can go and actually get a feel for what his products do. But he's a super great guy and really takes care of his people. They've got a great reputation in the Valley. They've been here for over 30 years selling misting systems. So I think you'll get a lot out of it. Call Dave and tell him you found out about him through our little sit down today, and he'll take care of you. Dave Johnson, Big Dave, how's it going, man?
Going great.
Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
For those of you who don't know, Dave and I are buddies from, I'm going to give a little shout out to the Scottsdale Golf League. Dave is the president of the Grinders, we call them, in the Scottsdale Golf League, where, like my wife said the other day, or last year or 2 years ago, when we started this little group in our golf league, she said, "So is that just where all the crappy golfers go?" And I said, "Yeah, pretty much."
Absolutely.
So anyway, I've gotten to know Dave over the years.
Passionate crappy
golfers. That's right.
Yeah.
I've gotten to know Dave over the years, playing golf with him. And, as you guys know, I like to have folks on come in for, I call it a podcast, but it's more just me and Dave shooting the you-know-what. Dave is the CEO of Mist America. And I thought, what a great time to bring in Dave, because today it's March 19th and it's 103 degrees outside.
Yeah, the last day of winter.
Exactly.
And it's 103 degrees in Phoenix. So
exactly. So
I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. So the days of just going out on the patio and enjoying ourselves and not sweating to death are quickly coming to an end, sooner rather than it should, probably. And it's that time of year where we'd like to be sitting on our patio during the middle of the day, but we can't because it's so hot. But Dave's got, some solutions for us with Mist America, his mist systems that he sells both for residential and commercial purposes. And I thought I'd bring Dave in just to kind of talk about what they do, because you guys aren't like your typical misting company that, when most people think of a mist system, they think of the traditional, run the tube along the outside of your patio and create that blanket of mist that keeps you cool. And they tend to work, but not as well
when the weather cooperates.
Yeah. That's right, with the humidity. So why don't you talk about that? I mean, mist systems in general.
Well,
right?
For sure. Mist systems first came to Arizona in 1986, and the Backstage restaurant in Scottsdale was the first commercial misting system in Arizona. And the founder of Mist America went and sat under it and went, "This is the neatest thing I've ever seen." And so he dove into misting and opened up a little business to try to do some misting with his dad. And he went through a couple of different partners and a couple of different companies just because a brand new product like that it was just unknown what was going on. And he actually kind of helped the Home Depot get into the low pressure misting, where it was just the line that you buy with some nozzles and you hook it up to your garden hose.
Right.
Unfortunately, that clogs really fast because of the really nasty water we have in Arizona.
Right.
So he started Mist America in 1994. So we've been around 32 years now.
Okay.
And he had a lot of firsts in the industry. He was the first one to come up with a stainless steel line instead of copper. And that way he could elevate the pressure of the systems up to 1,000 psi, 1,000 pounds per inch.
Okay.
And that's now become the standard, as is stainless steel line has become the standard over copper. Copper would pit over time and leak, and
Sure.
you couldn't really bury it under stucco, whereas you can with stainless steel.
Yeah.
Um, and so I came on to help him kind of figure his business out. He's kind of stuck at a 10 to 12 employees and having a hard time keeping it going year round because when it's hot, people want it, and when it's in the winter, it's like they're going to wait. So his revenue stream would be a real lumpy
Kind of like real
curve.
estate.
Yeah. So I got in and kind of learned that, and he told me early on, he goes, I got this idea for this fan that I think would be really cool, but I want it to be a good looking fan. But we got active in the dust suppression business, and we're rolling along. I joined in 2004. Well, then the 2008 housing crisis hit. We pretty much had to lay everybody off, and I started loaning money to the business. And I was going to be his partner when the timing was right. But once I got in there, I was more than just the investor and the president while he was out, trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
But during that time, we were able to, and we jointly developed this overhead fan that we came up with the name Mist360 because it does 360 degrees of misting on the interior of the patio. We were probably the leader with the curtain system, that line system on the outside. But with that, you're subject to wind, you're subject to humidity, and there's nothing to help you evaporate it. So half the time it's blowing away. The other half, it's more humid and it falls to the ground. There's a temperature range that works in, pretty limited.
Oh.
But that kind of became the standard for residential, and we were doing 4 to 6 installations a day before that housing boom, or housing bust. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And we were rocking and rolling. I thought this was great. I put one in my house and was looking at it, but so we came up with this concept to take the mist to the inside of the patio. And so to replace those ceiling fans that you see in a house that just have wilted blades and nobody ever runs, you turn it on and the dust flies.
Yeah.
Because they don't work. You're taking the hottest air at the top of the patio and trying to blow that down and cool people off. And it's just, so nobody would run them, and they became really eyesores. So we developed this fan that we'd run mist line to that with the fan and blow mist out in the middle of the patio. And it was 3 times more effective than the curtain system. It would work in a little breeze, and it helps evaporate the water even when the humidity raises. Even during the monsoon seasons here, you'd get full evaporation. So from that, we took that to the restaurants and said, hey, this is something you should look at. And it was a hit. It was a hit.
And not only restaurants, but I think you said that you guys did a big casino or in Vegas, or a big casino,
sure.
but a big
pool decks, out on the pool decks, anywhere where we could hang those fans or even put them on a pole and cantilever mount.
Right.
We actually got about 100 fans in front of MGM in Las Vegas on the sidewalks where they wanted to cool the people down walking by in front, because it gets so hot in the afternoon.
Right.
Because they're kind of west facing.
Right.
Unfortunately, they changed the height of the system, said, no, we're going to put these at 11 feet. And so if you were 8 feet tall, you could probably feel the cooling. But other than that, it kind of blows away because you're out in the open there. So they look nice, but they didn't work real well for them.
Yeah. So that was going to be one of my questions, is what's the ideal height for one of these Mist360s to be? Because I remember, the what did you call it? The sheet type system that we're all used to, where the line runs around your patio and it creates a sheet of cooler air. The key to that was you had to get it up pretty high, higher than a lot of patios go, in order to allow the
so it wouldn't get everything wet.
Yeah, exactly. But you're saying with this, how high is the ceiling?
8 feet's pretty ideal for us, but we can take the smaller ones that we've developed now for the residential side. We can hang those at about 7 feet off the ground. Wow. So it's pretty good, and it helps all those lower patios as well.
Yeah. And then the other thing you said was that it's not as affected by the humidity or the dew point, right, in the air, like the other ones are.
Right. Yeah.
Why is that different, like for the Mist360 versus the traditional.
Yeah. Well, the traditional, you're simply relying on evaporation.
Okay.
But with the fans, we've got 2 patents on that concept where we take the air and throw it from behind and throw it through the mist nozzle right at the entry point of the mist coming out of the nozzle.
Yeah.
And with that airflow, it really speeds up the evaporation process.
I'll be darned.
And then we shopped worldwide and came up with the inventor of the best nozzle that's out there. It's a ruby orifice nozzle that does it gets you, technically speaking, gets it down to 5 to 10 microns. So each one of those little 5 to 10 micron droplets, you get the little airflow behind it. You get the evaporation.
So it's a finer mist than what you can get out of the systems that go around your patio.
Exactly. It doesn't photograph that well. It doesn't look like there's a lot, but we're throwing a lot of water out there. We're throwing probably about 10 gallons an hour through that fan.
Okay.
Misted out and full evaporation. So it's a really good nozzle.
Yeah, yeah. So, as far as installation goes, a lot of obviously you guys are going in and kind of retrofitting these. You're going into people's patios that already have either drywall ceilings or, like in my case, I've got tongue and groove.
Right.
And I'm sitting here going, and I've got a fan that we never use right in the middle of it. And it's 8 feet. I mean, it's a perfect setup for what you guys are doing, but you're not going to go in and tear up ceilings and do all that. You just run the lines on the outside normally with those, like on the surface to the fan, or
on a retrofit. That's probably the best idea. But our line is it's a 1/4 inch outside diameter, so it's about the width of a pencil, and it basically disappears. Our installers are professionals. They know exactly how to put this in. We deal with the Wynn Resort, for example, who's one of the pickiest customers that's ever been.
I bet.
And pass the muster with those guys to get the system. So they look really nice.
Yeah.
The lines kind of disappear. You don't see them. And a lot of times we're able to get up above the ceiling and then drop down where the electrical is.
Yeah.
If there's a crawl space.
If there's access, right?
But we do, we work with probably 200 plus custom home builders as well. So we're able to get the systems in while they're building the home.
Oh, see, that's perfect.
Yeah. And now with the restaurants, when we get into one, well, they're successful because we're helping them make money off their patio. So then they're starting a second restaurant and they're going, hey, we want your fans there. And we get customers, like Over Easy Cafe for and the breakfast side, to Sicilian Butcher, to Tommy Bahama. We're nationwide with those guys.
Yeah.
So as they're building new restaurants, they're having us in, and we get the lines all hidden.
Yeah.
Completely right to the fans.
Right, because you're getting them before they're building.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
Right.
The thing I think of is, I'm obviously in real estate, and for some reason I always end up on the subject of appliances with people, and they're like, "Oh, we've got to buy a new washer and dryer, a new dishwasher. What are your thoughts?" And when it comes to washer and dryer, I knew a guy that used to own an appliance repair place, and he said, "Bob, if you ever buy a washer and dryer, get Speed Queen. They are the best in the business. Literally, I never, it's like the old Maytag commercials. We never show up to work on a Maytag." He said, literally, if I showed up to work on a Speed Queen, I wouldn't even know how to do any because I don't work on them all the time. But the reason for that is Speed Queen started off as a commercial only, laundromats. They built machines that were built to last.
Right.
And anytime you've got a product that was made for commercial purposes and you can put that into a residential setting. I mean, you think about like with these mist systems, these restaurants are using these systems 100 times more than a residential person would use, probably.
Absolutely.
Because they've got to stay in business and have them running 24/7 almost the whole time they're open, especially in the summer months. If I'm hearing you right, you're basically putting a commercial quality system in a residential setting that is meant to last.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's an investment. We try to tell our customers, hey, you're investing in your lifestyle here.
Yeah.
This isn't a one season and it's going to fall apart kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then, if you're planning on staying here forever, what why wouldn't you spend the money for a quality system? And if you're not, what a great sales tool. You're a realtor. If you can bring somebody in from out of town and say, hey, these guys got this professional mist system in their backyard, I think it's got to give me a lead in that customer buying from you as opposed to somebody that doesn't have one.
Well, you wouldn't believe how many times we walk out on especially on the, the higher end luxury homes over $1 million, where people are looking at the patio and they're like, oh yeah, look, it's got the whole outdoor kitchen set up. And then they look up and they see a mist system and they're like, oh my gosh, this is like a real commercial.
It's like a resort.
Yeah. They have a mist system here. And for the money that it costs, the amount of value in the customer's eyes, like for my buyers, at least that I've worked with, that's a huge upsell a huge deal for them. They look at it like, oh, good, that's one more thing I don't have to deal with. And once it's in, let's talk about the maintenance of it. When I had the last home that we had I guess you call it a commercial, but it's that curtain system that we talked about.
Sure.
And once a year, they would call me and say, we want to come out and do a service on your unit. And they'd change the oil in there and clean the heads and the nozzles and
change
all
the filter for the water filtration
filters
system.
And all that. And it was a couple $100 to have them come out and do that once a year. What do you guys do for your product, the Mist360?
Real similar. We'll at the customer's request show up and we can start them up. But we came up with the concept, hey, why don't we do a 3-year service agreement so you don't have to worry about it? You get you'll by doing that, it locks you in as a customer to me. So that's a big benefit. Sure. I can schedule and know that I've got business coming in the spring and the fall.
Yeah.
To start you up and shut you down. And then I can give you any parts that you're going to need for whatever reason, give you a nice discount since you're a service contract customer. So you get priority, you get the best service we got, and you get a discount if you ever need to add, change out your nozzles or, let's say that motor failed for whatever reason.
Yeah.
We get a nice discount on a replacement for that motor.
Yeah. Let's talk about the motors for a second, because over the years, I know they've gotten a little better. It used to be that you had to put the thing 200 yards from your house. Otherwise, you couldn't have a conversation with somebody while it was running. Have they gotten better now?
Yeah, there's some quieter pumps that we've come up with. If that's an issue, we can literally have a pump sitting on the patio that you can barely hear.
Wow.
for a single fan system.
Wow.
You get up to 2 or 3 and you hide it around the corner and you don't notice it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the power source for it is?
It's just straight 110.
110. Yeah. And then as far as finding water for it, are you generally just trying to find a hose bib that's close by and tying into that?
A hose bib works. The best is to tap off if you have a water softener. A lot of people in Arizona have water softeners because of the hardness of the water. That's the best to tap off of because you're going to have less clogging issues. If you use your system 1 week and then you don't use it again for 6 weeks because you went out of town or whatever, the calcium can crystallize inside that nozzle and cause it not to work.
Right.
Then you got to take it down and put it in your CLR and clean it up. And
that's what I was going to ask you too. Is that what you guys use to keep them clean?
We use different things, but
okay. Proprietary. You could tell me, but then you have to kill me.
Kill you. Sure. Well, that's what we'll tell people. That's an easy over the counter. We come up with a little different solution and work on that in the shop.
Right.
And that's another thing we do. We do a nozzle protection program because these nozzles, they're the best. These ruby tip nozzles, they do the best, and they'll last forever. That ruby tip is 100 times stronger than the stainless steel tips. So if you're throwing 1,000 psi through a stainless steel tip, that stainless steel ends up fatiguing over time, and it really becomes the nozzle becomes worthless.
Okay.
So you spend a little more for these nozzles, and you keep them clean, and they'll last forever.
Right.
So we'll take them down and we'll bring them in the shop and clean them and have them ready to go for the spring. So
okay.
That's part of the maintenance that we can do for our
Now, do
customers.
you take them back to the shop and then bring them back to the customer? Or you
Yeah.
just switch them out? And
Yeah, we'll take them down during the shutdown
Got it.
process, and then we'll take them back out at the startup
Oh, okay. So
for all our service contract customers.
yeah. So generally speaking, when is the shutdown and startup for most people?
Whenever they want, typically. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've ran my mist system on Christmas Day, and I've ran my mist system on Valentine's Day the next year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sometimes you really don't have to shut it down. This year, you probably wouldn't have had to shut it
the
down.
last few years we haven't had it freeze.
Yeah.
What you need the shutdown for is to protect yourself from either if those nozzles freeze, they become worthless. That ruby tip is embedded in the glass, and you get a little water in there and it freezes, that glass is going to shatter. So that's why we take them down. Here we tell everybody take these off during the non-season if you're not going to be one of our service contract customers,
Right.
or you don't use us to come do it.
Right.
So that's one of the tricks of the trade. The other is that filter kit. Water can sit in there, and that's a really hard plastic tube. But if that thing freezes on a bad freeze,
Yep.
it could pop. And then, and if you haven't turned off your water to the unit, you might have a lot of water on your hands.
Yeah. Yeah. What about and I know I'm switching gears on you here, but that tube that 1/4-inch stainless steel that's running to the unit, I'm assuming like if a homeowner has the paint color, is that something that you guys paint in the shop or anything, or is it just going to be bright silver against how does that work?
Yeah, our customers here in Arizona love the powder coating color to match their home.
Okay.
One of the things we used to do is have about 25 different colors and trying to match. Unfortunately, that got a little overkill on trying to keep stock and getting it for the customer. So we really kind of boiled it down to 5 colors that we keep in stock, and we get it close. If that customer doesn't like that, it's much better to paint the powder coat than it is to paint the stainless steel. When you paint just the stainless steel, it just flakes off.
Right.
But the powder coating adheres to that stainless.
It gives it something to stick
Yeah,
to.
and then you can paint to match exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So are there different models of the Mist 360, or is it just you just have one that you use for everybody residential?
no, we got so we came out with the first one. We called it we actually called it the Revolution, which is we thought, hey, it's a circle, right? Let's call it, and it's a
Sounds like a
major
name
thing.
you came up with.
It's a major thing to introduce. I am kind of the creator.
I can see that.
We're introducing this concept to the business. Well, a competitor apparently filed their trademark on Revolution the day before we filed ours. So they sent us a cease and desist, and I just laughed. I'm like, wow,
That's an insider.
you really want that name?
That's an inside
Yeah,
job.
yeah, it was pretty funny. So I looked at the fan with the founder, and I said, I think this is a Mist 360. It missed 360 degrees. And he goes, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And he's the one that came up with Mist America, which is a really unique,
great.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
We get compliments
Everyone
all the
knows it.
time. on
Everyone
Mist
knows
America.
it. Yeah.
And so we came up with Mist 360, and so we came up. The first Mist 360 was a classic, and it was a 12 nozzle, and the bell was the same size as the body with the airflow in between, and we had the nozzles out on the bell, and we found out that under tight spaces, like under an umbrella, we did some umbrellas for Del Frisco's in Washington D.C. of all places, really hot and humid.
Yeah.
And we put those up, and the air the mist basically sucked back up into the fan and started firing off water
Oh boy.
out of the fan. So people were getting pelleted with little droplets. So we shrunk the bell and called that the breeze. We said, this is the Mist 360 breeze. And it worked better because it brought the mist down better. The classic was more total ambient cooling. The breeze, actually, you get a little better airflow, and it comes down lower to people sitting. And so that was our commercial product, and that's when we did the restaurants. We did a lot of homes with that.
Yeah.
But we got some at a home patio, there's no noise. In a restaurant, you got ambient noise.
Yeah.
You got some music going. You got people talking, and you don't even hear those things.
Yeah.
But you put that on your patio, the breeze, and it's like, well, that's a little loud. Well, we're moving a lot of air. That's it's gonna be loud. So we then came up with a smaller version, and we dubbed it the Mini Cool, and that was our first patent, is because we took a fan that it didn't blow a lot of air, and we made these little chutes to condense the air into that, and ran the chute out over the nozzles. So that was our patented product that we got in 2017.
Oh,
and that worked pretty good for low ceilings and tight spaces. But Arizona, it's pretty hot here, and if you're not getting that much cooling out of that, so we then found a bigger motor and built the fan around that and called that the Cyclone. And funny story, we loved this product and kind of developed it toward the end of 2019, and I took all our money, and we were going to do this monster launch in 2020, and
COVID.
And I didn't have all the pieces to the product yet. I had to get my plastic going. I was getting motors in. I had to get rings made. And so I couldn't launch it, and right at this, when we shut down in March, I'm like, this would be perfect. But all my money was tied up in fans and they weren't even here yet to be assembled, right? And I'm like, I'm dead in the water. So we applied for the PPP money with a big bank and just got shut out. And so I had to furlough all my employees. I thought we might be done.
Oh,
and luckily the second round of PPP came, and we got our first check in May of 2020, and I was able to bring every employee. They could have stayed home for what they were paying them on unemployment back then.
Right.
We were paying guys about that, but they wanted to come back to work. And we got the fans in and launched, and we sold a lot online to people. And I came out with the first commercial. We were going to hire Cox to do our commercial.
Yeah.
And we were looking at sites, and then they got shut down. And so the founder's son had it was just he had a 3-person video production company.
Oh.
And we brought him and his partner over, and it was myself, my wife, my son, and his fiance.
I've seen
filmed that first commercial.
I've seen that.
And,
is that the one where you guys are playing cornhole?
Yeah, playing cornhole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody asked how many takes, and I literally didn't even know they did a take, but I made the shot. So they got lots of grief on that. That's how much did you have to spend to make that shot?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but that was pretty fun. So, but that commercial was so effective because you're stuck at home.
Yeah.
And you want to be outside.
Yeah.
And that's really what Mist America is all about. We want to make the outdoors comfortable where you're going to spend more time out there.
Right.
The average person spends 95% of their life indoors.
Yeah.
That's a crime.
Especially after COVID.
Exactly.
I think people got even more locked into their houses.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than sitting on your patio with people and instead of sitting, inside. But and the other beautiful thing about Arizona, I said it earlier, when you talk to people that are from Florida and these other places, the thing they don't like the heat in Arizona necessarily in July and August, but the thing they always say is, at least you don't have to screen in your porch for bugs.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So now I say that, and we've been getting killed by mosquitoes this last few years in Phoenix, it seems like more than normal. But so that, getting back to that is that the one that you created during that COVID time? Is that the Mist360 that you're doing now?
That's the Cyclone. That's the residential model.
Oh,
okay. We like, yeah.
Okay, so the Mist360 is the commercial model.
Well, they're all Mist360s, but one's a Breeze, one's a Cyclone, and then we came up with another one where I took the commercial Breeze and I shrunk it down by about a third.
Oh,
and it's really sleek. It's nice looking, and I'm using the Cyclone motor for that one. So it's a little less powerful than the big commercial motor.
Yeah.
So one of them weighs 8 pounds. One of them weighs 8 pounds, and one of them weighs 25 pounds.
Oh, wow.
That's when that super industrial motor is, it'll last forever.
Yeah.
But the motor we found for the Cyclone and we dubbed it the Backyard Breeze because it looked like a miniature Breeze, but we already had mini cools. That didn't work, and we tried to think of different, tornado or hurricane. It's like, no, it's a Breeze, but it's for the backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
So that product is building. It's a good looking little unit, and it's very effective. It's a 10 nozzle versus the 8 nozzle Cyclone, so you basically get 20% more water out of it.
Okay,
and it's a good looking unit.
And how much coverage does it give you generally? Like on an 8-foot ceiling on a patio, what's the radius of that?
Well, probably 200, 250 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice 15
patio.
It's a nice 15 to 20 foot circle. You can get some cooling, and
wow.
you walk in and you go, wow, that's nice,
Yeah, and it's a totally different concept because the way it was explained to me years ago we used to use a guy, I can't remember the name of the company, but he was around Carefree Misting. Are they
Carefree
still?
Misting.
Yeah.
I
don't
we
know
used
if
to
they're
sell a
still
little
around.
bit to him.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm a nice guy, and we're going back 15 years ago.
Yeah.
He explained the concept of those old systems. It was just to create a barrier, basically. And I always used to think, okay, so you create the barrier, but how do you cool the space in there? And you're hoping that airflow comes across.
Right. Yeah.
But then like you said, in July and August, it's like back in the day when the first house my wife and I bought, it was when we had evap cooling and AC unit. And I used to make her crazy. I'd say, let's just keep the evap going let's see if we can make it to July 4th weekend. And boy, July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you were dying in the house because that dew point gets above, I think it used to be 50 degrees or something like that. And the evap cooling was completely worthless.
It was done. Yeah.
So it's the same concept with the other systems the old systems that we're talking about.
Right.
Cool. Well, I mean, I've learned a ton. What can a homeowner expect to spend on something like this? A system where they say it's like me, where I've got a fan and over, our table in our patio area. We would just take the fan out and replace it with that. I mean, is there a ballpark where I know it probably depends on how far is water away and power and, labor type stuff, right?
For sure. For sure. So we got kits as cheap as, a little mini cool kit with a smaller pump. It's still a high pressure pump, but it does about 600, 650 PSI.
Uh-huh.
You dial that in, that's $1,295 you can do it yourself and get some cooling.
That's cheap.
But we can do 3 fans and we'll do a curtain in addition to the fans. That's the ultimate because you can run either or. The times when that curtain works, it's a nice quiet.
Oh, you do both then.
Yeah, we'll do both. But then, I mean, I got 3 fans in the curtain.
Okay.
And, I play around with it. I can have 1 fan on if I'm just sitting over there.
Oh,
but that system's probably, 15 to 20 grand.
Right. Exactly.
So, anywhere in between.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it just depends.
We'd never want to be the cheapest. We just want to be the best.
The best. Exactly.
And we hate it when the competitors try to commoditize the product and just turn it into a price thing. They're trying to copy a fan they make in China on a super cheap little fan, and but it's round and it kind of looks like it. We have a competitor that's even putting our customers' names. So we've done 250 Chick-fil-A's around the country, and they're on their website. They're putting a Chick-fil-A wrap around their Chinese fan, so they can deceive the customer. We're not that way.
No,
we don't even look at them as competitors. They're people that are out to dupe the public.
Fly by night.
Yeah. And their product is
here
no
today,
good.
Gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when your system breaks in 2 years,
they sell to 2 chucks in a truck. You can open up a business for $1 and buy some stuff and go out and put it in and make a couple of $100, and you're a misting company.
Like a wholesaler type thing.
And then if you put some money into a website, you can look like you're the real deal.
Right. Exactly.
Most of them operate out of a PO box. And come middle of summer when they're putting in a system and yours breaks down, they call them up. We get calls all the time. I bought this system. They're not calling me back. It's like, well, they're either out of business or they're just too busy installing,
right.
Ripping off other customers. So,
so
that's what they do. So we've grown from, when I came on, there was 8 people and we've got up to 48 people last year. So we've got about 44 right now, but I'm always looking for quality people and to continue the growth.
Finding good people,
but
is really hard for
my average tenure per employee is over 10 years.
Oh my God!
So I've got a really good seasoned staff, and
it tells you about your culture.
It does.
I mean, the story you told about people wanting to come back to work even though they could have sat at home and made their unemployment checks.
Yeah.
I remember when you said that, I hadn't thought about that for years, but I remember that was a big deal back then, that people couldn't get people back to work because they're like, why would I work when I can sit at home and make money?
$900 a week or something.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to, because you guys don't have like a storefront type setup, do you? Where people can come and
We do. We love to have people come in. I got a 25,000-foot facility, and I'm actually redoing my whole showroom because my showroom's outside in front of our place. But you can see all the products working, feel what they do,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that because I was gonna say maybe they could go if they wanted to go experience it firsthand at a restaurant. What are some restaurants that they could try them out at here in Phoenix, Scottsdale?
Well, Cold Beer and Cheeseburgers is what everybody talks about.
Oh, yeah.
Because you go to Cold Beers and half their people sit outside
Right.
because it's a great environment.
Yeah.
And they're a great client, and we try to take really good care of them.
Perfect.
And they've done a phenomenal job
Yeah.
in growing that concept in this valley, and they're a really good company to work with.
Do they use both the curtain and the fans?
They just use the fans.
The
Yeah.
fans. Perfect. So if people want to see it in
Yeah,
action,
you can feel that
they
there.
can actually get a feel for it
Yeah.
of what it's going to feel like on
Right.
their patio. That's
Right.
awesome. Or they can go to where's your showroom or your office?
We're right on the Scottsdale Air Park runway on the east side.
Okay.
Right across basically from Costco. There's a little loop across
yeah.
the street from Costco, and we're right there. It's in Billionaires Row. So Van Tile has his shop and private
Yep.
plane, and then there's ours, and then Bob Parsons with GoDaddy
Daddy.
has his PXG shop there.
Yeah. So it's
And,
right back there.
And between Bob Parsons and us, the CrowdStrike guy, Mr. Kurtz, I think.
Yeah.
He built his airplane hangar there. So
Oh,
there's
wow.
3 billionaires and there's us. So it's a
Yeah.
good place to come.
Yeah, cool. All right. So what I'll do is when we put this out there on YouTube, I'll make sure that the address and your contact information is in there.
That's awesome.
Last thing I was going to ask you is warranty. What kind of warranty do they come with?
Yeah, our residentials come with a 3-year warranty.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's a lifetime on your mist line. That's or your nozzles, the misting pieces of it,
And the motor and all that good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. But 3 years on the fan and the high pressure pump
Okay.
that we do. But
That's fair.
it's a rare time when we have to warranty something.
Yeah.
To be honest. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, man, we learned a lot about misting systems.
It's been
today.
fun.
And the timing was perfect.
I love talking about my business.
I know.
It's
And I love
people always say that's cool, and I went, no, it's cool, and it's cool.
I like bringing people in to talk like this, friends and clients of mine, the mom and pops, the entrepreneurs of the world. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in real estate. I always tell people that, the thing about real estate is you wake up every day unemployed and you got to go hunt it down and catch it and eat it.
Same with misting, I tell you.
It is. It's the same with all entrepreneurs. And, it's just fun to bring people in and hear their story and more about how they got to where they are and all that good stuff. And especially someone that has such a great product and a great name in our market and a great reputation of taking care of people. I really appreciate you coming in, and I always enjoy our time on the golf course. And now I've learned more about your business, which is even more fun.
Well,
So,
good.
yeah.
Good. Were you playing Sunday too?
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
We'll go grind.
I'm back in the swing of things. So yeah, we'll go grind.
We'll go grind. That's what we do.
All right, man.
All right.
Thanks again for showing up.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.